Hi, everybody. Meteorologist Joe Cioffi. Give you an update here on Tropical Storm Emily. If you look at the radar here, right about there is where the circulation center is, and it's not too far from Sarasota as it moves eastward. Now, the Doppler radar estimates we're picking up on winds of 55 to 60 knots at 4,000 feet, so that probably translates pretty well to 40 to 45 miles an hour, right near that circulation center as it's just about coming inland. And you can see where all the heavy rains are. There are bands that are sweeping into the south. There isn't much going on to the north. Once you get north of Route 4 in Florida, there's very little in terms of rainfall. And in fact, when we look at areas to the east, I'm going to push the radar out east so we can take a look at the rain on the east coast of Florida. Rain from Fort Pierce to Melbourne, and then it just tapers off, and there's nothing at all as you go north toward Daytona Beach, Palm Coast, and on up toward Jacksonville. We've got some heavier rains in the southern band of moisture moving across South Florida from West Palm Beach to Belle Glade, and I will go south to Miami. And you can see there's quite a bit of heavy rain in the southern half of the state on the west side from Naples to Everglades City, and then goes northeastward from there to just north and west of Miami to Fort Lauderdale, and then on up the coast. So it's generally going to be several inches or more of rain before this is all said and done. And here's the latest. I'll just update it for you. Here's the latest visible satellite picture. Right there, you can see almost just over or just south of Tampa Bay. Kind of matches up pretty well with the radar. That's where the core of the circulation is. There's not that much going on the west side, so this is all, again, to the east and south of the center. And Emily is going to move generally to the east or east-northeast, and then northeast as it goes off the east coast of Florida sometime on Tuesday, and then northeastward from there. Probably will re-strengthen once it goes out into the open waters of the Atlantic, but this is not going to have any other impact to areas along the east coast. Now, here's the wider satellite picture. So Emily formed really at the very base of this old cold front that moved on through. You can see it right here offshore, and then right there, it separated from the frontal zone, and you had the tropical storm form. And in the meantime, you've still have all this dry air that's in the eastern part of the United States, and that's going to be moving east, and we're going to start to see warmer and more humid air taking its place as we go through the week, and the area of showers and storms in parts of the southern plains, while in the west, everything is pretty much status quo. Here's an enhanced view so you can take a look at where the highest and coldest cloud tops are, and you can see the separate tropical storm away from the main cold front that's producing convection all the way up into the Atlantic, and then you have that action back through the southern plains, but otherwise it's pretty quiet everywhere else. The NAM view is to bring it inland, which it does, and then it kind of meanders it over Florida, then out it goes on the other side, and then northeast from there, which would make total sense, and wave goodbye to that. We're going to widen this out and go to the eastern view to show you what we can expect for this week. I don't expect it to be a very busy week in the eastern two-thirds of the United States for the most part. Here's the NAM out to 84 hours, with some showers and thunderstorms. We get into the humidity as we move into midweek. We'll probably start to see some pop-up storms from time to time. Let me back this up just a little bit. And we'll go to, this is overnight. Notice it's very dry. Some showers and storms scattered around parts of Texas and the Gulf Coast. But other than that, here comes the next weather system and cold front for late this week and this coming weekend. So it looks to me like overall it's just going to be a quiet beginning to the month of August, aside from the tropical storm. And we'll widen out and do both coasts together, and you can see what's happening here. Again, Emily goes out turns very warm and humid here in the east. Here's the next cold front that's going to take its time moving through the eastern part of the United States, so there'll probably be the threat for showers and thunderstorms, maybe a bit more numerous Friday and into Saturday. And then we get a little shot of dry air behind it. Nothing as a little cooler, a little drier, not like this dry air mass we just had, but it'll be a break. And then looks like another weak front early next week tries to push on through. Again, maybe a shade drier and a shade cooler behind it. And then the high builds to the north as we move into the middle part of the month. And we probably make a transition over to a warmer and more humid air mass eventually. But we still have these weak weather fronts that keep coming through with the idea of troughing in the east. And it's pretty much a non-event in the west, just typical summertime. Hot weather continues. You're getting some severe weather action through parts of the central and southern plains over the weekend and early next week as that weather system pushes on to the east. Taking a look at the upper air out of this, and we will widen it. And let's go back. Trough in the east, ridge in the west. So this is the one that lifted out for over the weekend. Just going to wait for this all to load up. Taking a little longer these days to load up here. And, that trough lifts. And you still have, you see there's in the middle of this week, you still have some westerly winds aloft. There's still some weak troughing here in the eastern part of the United States, which keeps it from getting too hot or over the middle and latter part of this week. High pressure ridge out in the west, and then here comes the next trough, a little less deep than some prior runs were showing, but it kind of hangs around longer. You can still see troughing into the middle of next week before that pulls out, and then the model wants to drop down something else from eastern Canada, so that might keep things a bit cooler than they otherwise would be in the east. But overall, it's pretty much the same story here. Trough in the general ridging in the west, general troughing in the east. Nothing especially strong from the standpoint of these dips in the jet stream are concerned, but just enough to keep air masses moving, and we keep getting weather changes from time to time every 3 or 4 days. So it can't get too hot or too humid for too long. And I think at the end of the day, that's a good thing. So one last check of the radar here on Tropical Storm Emily. You can get all the latest on Emily and much more on my website, meteorologistjoecioffi.com. And Angry Ben has New York City covered on nycweathernow.com. Let me just move this up so we can get to Tampa Bay. And there's Emily right here, just about the center, just about inland. Notice not much going on to the north and west, everything pretty much to the east and south. All right, folks, busy Monday morning here. Got to get moving. Have a great day, and we will talk to you later.